Happy Easter to all Christians. This is not the time for divisions that have always been there in the Christian world. The divisions of the Church of Europe, of the East and the West, the division over between the Church of Palestine and the Church of Europe, the division over the Church of Africa and other mission churches, the division over religions, African natural religions or global natural religions versus the initiated religions, the Abrahamic religions, and so on and so forth. This is the time for unity. COVID-19 is yet another pandemic, and for that matter, a global one. And it is calling us back to the basics. Back to the basics in the Christian perspective, in as far as home churching is concerned. Home churching is very important because this is where, even as a society, we draw our socialization skills, we draw our identities. And even as a church, if your faith never started from home, your foundation might be very shaky. And so this is a call to all Christians to go back to the basics of Christianity. And I hope we are going to work it right. We are going to have a way out, and we are going to emerge stronger once the COVID-19 pandemic subsides. I want to talk also about the ingenuity of Christians, starting from pastors, bishops, church leaders, those elected, those appointed, and those doing out of will in their own spaces. It is a call to all Christians to be pragmatic. I believe the church has been very silent in terms of the practicality. The fastest growing denominations do not concern themselves with orphanages, home for the old, and all these institutions that restore the family values and promote cohesion among human beings in terms of protecting life and preserving it at the same time and showing the value of life. Most of these lifestyle churches or mushrooming churches have become an avenue or a platform of where people are promised material things, and this is the kind of blessing that people are pursuing. And of course, people who focus is or their heart is focused on material things are going to come in rushing. So again, the ingenuity of us as Christians at this time is very important, because this is where the church will be defined, redefined. Our faith will be relooked and reacted by being pragmatic. Christianity has been seen as a redundant movement in times of crisis. Right now, we don't see a lot of miracles happening. All right, we don't see a lot of activities, Christian activities on the ground. It's like the church is really in a box which it cannot come out. We are not seeing cars moving around whenever they're advertising crusades. moving around, sensitizing people about COVID-19. We are not seeing more pastors channeling out or coming together and offering uh, coffers or a platform where Christians can donate, and we can also respond to the plight of the poor. Because where there is curfew, like in Kenya, where there are lockdowns, these are very unfavorable situations. And including this social distancing and working from home, these are very unfavorable to the poor, and especially those people who are not employed permanently or formally. And so it is going to have a ripple effect. But I want to believe that through the mercies of God, we're going to find a way out, and God is going to uh, be seen by the world in his unseen capacity, because the world, many people of this world are really reflecting about themselves. People are at home. They are now realizing what their family has become, or who their children have grown into, and children are learning about their parents. And this also is teaching us a lot of good lessons, and our response to the plight, to this plight of COVID-19, is really needed as a church. I want to talk finally about the period that we are in. Last Sunday was a Palm Sunday for the Eastern Orthodox churches, and it was an Easter Sunday for the Western churches, and it really shows a lot of commitment in terms of this is the first Easter that has been done from home. I've seen a lot of people doing what they do in churches at home, which is a good sign. And I've also seen pastors and priests doing Easter liturgies and divine services at home with their families, which is a good thing, save for few cases where social distance has not been really considered. But all in all, we are praying that nothing bad comes out of those activities and acts. And also the government is not going to meet them with a lot of force whenever they think of doing so. Back to basics again reminds us of before church buildings came into being around early 4th century. People used to pray at home, in the homes of the rich, in the homes where there were spaces, in sepulchres, in catacombs, in forests, in caves. And it was such a good thing. It was so genuine because it was not about the fancy building. It was not about the fancy clothes that leaders wear, and the who is who in the church. It was about the service and the belief and faith. And this is a good thing. I mean, if we can do this even next year, because I'm sure this year really caught us off guard. People are confused, they didn't know what to do. But now people have learned. If next year church leaders can recommend that we do these Great Lent services and Easter services at home, I think Christianity is going to go places. To us Orthodox Christians, the Paschal Sunday is very important. Ours comes later, sometimes it comes at the same time with the one for the Roman Catholic or the Western churches, because we use Gregorian calendar at this period. And the Western churches use Gregorian calendar at this period. We use Julian calendar. And the most important thing about this season is salvation. This is where salvation was defined and happened, the resurrection of Christ. If Christ wouldn't have never resurrected, there will never be anything like hope for resurrection. But this is where we place our hope. This is the pinnacle, this is the cradle of Christianity and of our faith and practice. And this is the most important celebration. It may not be accurate in terms of dates. It may be controversial in terms of, for us, we look at the equinox. Ours comes around equinox. The Roman Catholic one falls at the same time with the Passover feast of the Jews. But all these differences do not mean anything. What is most important is that Christians must show their faith in action at this time. God bless you. This is Father Isaac.